The video shows a large number of workers from Kunshan Lijian Electronics Company Limited leaving the factory with their luggage. This company is a subsidiary of Luxshare Precision Industry Company Limited. Due to a lack of orders, many workers have been laid off, prompting an early return to their hometowns over 2 months in advance. Kunshan Lijian Electronics primarily manufactures Apple's original equipment for mobile phones and wireless chargers, and is one of China's key enterprises in the Apple supply chain. Similar to Foxconn, as Apple's supply chain gradually shifts to countries like India and Vietnam, their orders have significantly decreased this year, resulting in mass layoffs. One employee at Zhengzhou Foxconn is saying goodbye to her former coworkers. She was recruited by Foxconn as a temporary worker 3 months ago. With a decrease in orders, her group of temporary workers wasn't renewed, forcing her to resign. She enjoyed working at Foxconn, but now has to leave 2 months before the Chinese New Year, unemployed. This scene was recently captured by a video blogger in the Huizhou Foxconn living support area, Guangdong Province.
It's 7 p.m. now. Straight ahead is the main gate of Foxconn, and this street is where Foxconn employees live. It used to be a hotspot for businesses, but now it's deserted. Look, all the shops are closed. That internet cafe over there is a testament to the past glory. The fruit store, department store, and snack shop across the street are all closed now. The lit area over there is the exit of the dormitory area. You see, out of dozens of storefronts on this street, only a few fast food and bun shops remain. You can see, Foxconn's heyday is no more. There's not a soul on the entire street, and it's not even 8 p.m. yet, which should be a busy time. Now, I'll show you this whole commercial complex. All these buildings and commercial areas were built around Foxconn. The convenience stores at the dormitory entrances are all closed, hinting that there might be nobody left inside. The convenience stores at both entrances are shut. Only a pharmacy and a fast food joint are left on this street. What's the point, really? Up ahead is Longcheng number 1. All residential complexes here, and all the shops below are closed.
Huizhou Foxconn, one of the 9 Foxconn industrial parks in Guangdong Province, mainly manufactures protective panels, touch display components, and casings for electronic products. At its peak, the factory employed 120,000 workers and was a significant local enterprise. However, as Foxconn follows Apple in establishing factories overseas, orders have greatly decreased, leading to layoffs and a decline in the surrounding service industry. A worker from Wuhan, working in human resources, reports that due to the halt in hiring temporary workers at Wuhan Foxconn, surrounding factories have either stopped recruiting or reduced wages.
I always say Foxconn's CAA, IDPBG Digital Products Division in Wuhan is a weather vane for recruitment. Foxconn's CAA stopped hiring part-time workers because they sent a large number of people to support Foxconn in Jincheng and Guanlong. This led to nearby factories lowering wages or halting recruitment. For instance, wages in Foxconn's NP division dropped. Lenovo also cut wages and limited quotas. Huaxing Optoelectronics and Qihong Optoelectronics stopped hiring part-timers. The situation is even worse for smaller factories. They either cut wages or stopped hiring. So, whenever Foxconn's CAA halts hiring part-timers, it greatly affects the industry. Those still job hunting might as well go home early for the new year.
In Yantai Foxconn, temporary workers have also been dismissed, leading to the closure of nearby restaurants and shops and leaving the area desolate. As Apple's largest OEM factory, Foxconn employed over 1.1 million workers in China at its peak. Thus, any change in its 40-plus industrial parks significantly impacts local economies and employment. Since the beginning of the year, there have been continuous reports of Foxconn factories halting recruitment, reducing wages, and relocating production lines outside China. The reduced workforce has also led to a downturn in the surrounding commercial environment. For instance, in June, Foxconn moved some production lines from Zhengzhou and Shenzhen to Mexico and Vietnam, causing many physical stores around Zhengzhou Foxconn to close. Wages for workers in the Shenzhen Foxconn Park have been significantly cut. According to 3 Shenzhen recruitment agencies, Foxconn's Shenzhen factory now offers an hourly wage of 19 to 20 yuan for smartphone assembly and component production positions, down from last year's 22 to 26 yuan. The shift in Foxconn's production capacity is not unrelated to Apple's quiet decoupling from China. Apple has been diversifying its supply chain to countries like India, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Ireland, with India producing iPhones and accessories, Vietnam assembling AirPods and Macs, Malaysia producing some Macs, and Ireland supplying relatively easier to produce products like iMacs. According to Nikkei Asia, the percentage of components for the iPhone 15 Pro Max produced in China has shrunk to just 2%. Analysts predict that India's share will rise, possibly replacing China as the new global production hub for Apple's supply chain. Following Apple's steps, Foxconn has also set up factories globally, moving some orders away from China, leading to an undersupply in its Chinese operations. People lament that Foxconn took prosperity away, leaving desolation behind, while also contributing to a rise in China's unemployment rate. In Guangzhou, a heart-wrenching scene was captured where numerous migrant workers, unable to find jobs or afford lodging, are forced to sleep on the streets. Recently, the CCP's tax and land use investigation of Foxconn has become a hot topic. On November 21st, the results of a synchronized tax audit on several Foxconn subsidiaries were released. Surprisingly, this vigorous tax investigation against Foxconn ended with a mere 20,000 yuan, or $2,800 fine, for Wuhan Fulian Technology, a wholly owned subsidiary of Foxconn. This was interpreted by the outside world as the CCP's warning to Foxconn Group chairman Terry Gou. As a consequence, Gou officially launched his 2024 Taiwan presidential election campaign on November 24th, favoring the CCP-backed Kuomintang candidate, evidencing the CCP's interference in Taiwan's elections. Senior executives at Foxconn believe that Beijing's tax inspection is a warning to the company not to shift too much production out of China. This concern arises as China faces mounting economic pressure, potentially threatening hundreds of thousands of jobs. Analysts also view Beijing's investigation into Foxconn as a pivotal moment in China's relation with international investors. Foxconn, being China's largest foreign enterprise in terms of cumulative investment, workforce size, and export volume, has played a crucial role over the past 3 decades in establishing China as a major global manufacturing hub. However, Foxconn has now become a pawn in the Chinese Communist Party's geopolitical strategies, serving as a warning to Taiwanese businesses and all foreign enterprises in China. This situation highlights the escalating risks for foreign investors in China amidst intense international geopolitical competition. Moreover, China's actions are seen as disruptive to the global economic order. In recent years, geopolitical conflicts and the pandemic have prompted Western countries to reduce their dependence on Chinese supply chains. The concept of decoupling, first introduced by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in March and later included in the G7 summit communiqué in May, has become a guiding principle in the West's approach to China. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen stated on October 3rd that the U.S. is overly reliant on China for critical supply chains, especially in clean energy products, and needs to diversify its sources. The decoupling strategy, led by Western countries, has significantly impacted China's economy, particularly visible in the withdrawal of foreign investments and the closure of export-oriented factories. On November 17, China's Ministry of Commerce reported that foreign direct investment, FDI, from January to October decreased by 9.4% year-over-year to 987 billion yuan, marking the 5th consecutive month of decline. The service sector experienced the most significant drop, with a 15.9% decrease in foreign investment. Reports also indicate that over 75% of foreign investment in the Chinese stock market in the first 7 months of the year has been withdrawn. Analysts attribute this mass exodus of foreign capital to Xi Jinping's national security policy, with no immediate prospects for improvement. According to reports, foreign investors are withdrawing more capital from China through repatriating profits, repaying internal company loans, and selling more assets than they are investing. An article in The Economist posits that this trend reflects foreign investors' disillusionment with China's economic prospects and policymaking. The collapse of China's export-oriented manufacturing industry is an ongoing issue. On November 25th, Xinwei Electronic Company Limited in Henan Province reportedly had all its equipment removed as the owner fled. Look everyone, this is Henan Zhengwei, a Fortune 500 company. See what it's come to now. Everything on the 3rd and 4th floors has been taken away. Only these employees are left, with no company representative to take care of things. Now there's nobody upstairs, and the workshop equipment is all gone. Look, this is the workshop, empty. The meeting rooms are also cleaned out. Data reveals that Henan Xingwei Electronics Company, established in 2015, is a major electronics manufacturer specializing in smartphones, tablets, and related accessories with a focus on exports. Its parent company is Amer International Group Limited, based in Shenzhen, which ranked third among China's top 500 private enterprises. In recent years, Amer International Group has expanded into the smartphone and semiconductor industries, becoming the largest shareholder of Chengdu Huizhou Semiconductor Technology Company Limited. Henan Xingwei is located in the Zhengzhou Airport Economic Zone's mobile phone industry park, which was developed around Foxconn's industrial chain. Thus, any shift in Foxconn's supply chain significantly impacts thousands of supporting industries in the area. To retain foreign investment and attract the global supply chain back, China's International Trade Promotion Committee organized the first China International Supply Chain Fair in Beijing from November 28th to December 2nd. As the world's first national-level exhibition focusing on supply chains, the event garnered significant attention. The fair, spanning 100,000 square meters, featured 515 Chinese and foreign enterprises and institutions. It included exhibition areas for intelligent automobiles, green agriculture, clean energy, digital technology, healthy living, and supply chain services, alongside activities like policy interpretation, exchange discussions, networking, and new product launches. Wu Shengrong, the director of the exhibition department of the CCP's Trade Promotion Committee, noted that 26% of exhibitors were foreign, with 36% of these from the US and Europe. Additionally, nearly half of the overseas exhibitors were from countries involved in China's Belt and Road Initiative, mostly supplying raw materials and primary products. The CCP Trade Promotion Committee also offered booth fee subsidies and waivers for exhibitors from the least developed countries like Laos, Rwanda, Guinea-Bissau, East Timor, and Haiti. Experts view this as a strategic deception by the CCP amid economic challenges and internal and external difficulties, aiming to attract foreign investment to bolster China's strength and eventually counter the West. The CCP also seeks to leverage its dominant position in Belt and Road countries to create a supply chain led by China. Tang Jingyuan, a US-based current affairs commentator, says that the CCP organized the fair as a response to US technological decoupling sanctions and economic containment. By establishing a supply chain dominated by the CCP, particularly in strategic areas, China aims to secure a larger share of the international supply chain. Tang suggests that the CCP is using the fair and similar initiatives to bring Belt and Road countries into its sphere of influence, strengthening ties and creating a mutual dependency. Tang Jingyuan remarked, the Chinese Communist Party is using the Supply Chain Expo and other means to bring countries involved in the Belt and Road Initiative into its sphere of influence, thereby strengthening and reinforcing the CCP's ties with these countries and establishing a mutually beneficial relationship. Following President Xi Jinping's request for the U.S. to cancel unilateral sanctions against China during the Xi-Biden meeting in November, the Supply Chain Expo was promptly held. Shen Mingshi, the director of the National Security Research Institute at Taiwan's Institute of National Defense and Security Research, commented in an interview with Radio Free Asia that China is reactively trying to reorganize its supply chains. He said, following U.S. technological and trade sanctions, many countries have gradually decoupled from the global supply chain that previously included China. China hopes to entice foreign manufacturers that were part of its supply chain system to return to mainland China to promote economic development. However, Shen pointed out two major challenges for American companies looking to reestablish in China. First, under U.S. sanctions, can American businesses return to China? Secondly, given China's unchanged policies toward private enterprises, what benefits can be gained from reconstructing a red supply chain in China? Shen referred to TSMC founder Morris Chang's statement that globalization is dead and the world is now in an era of geopolitics with a new U.S.-China economic and trade framework. He believes that even if the U.S. relaxes sanctions on lower-level systems, it will not ease its sanctions on high-tech, high-precision systems. In this context, U.S. companies will consider whether staying in China will bring more benefits similar to the incentives, benefits, special treatment, and legal relaxations China offered to attract foreign investment in the early days of its economic reforms. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, achieving this seems difficult. Lan Shu, another US-based current affairs commentator, noted that China's economic downturn poses three significant risks for foreign investments in China. First, there's no guarantee of profiting from the Chinese market due to its poor economic performance. Second, the geopolitical risks are continuously escalating, making exports from China uncertain. And third, the changing policies toward China in Western countries pose another risk. Convincing Western enterprises to invest in China under these circumstances is extremely challenging. Regardless of the CCP's efforts, it's unlikely to significantly restore foreign investors' confidence in China. The trend of supply chains moving out of China has become irreversible. In the future, more export-oriented factories may close, and more manufacturing workers may lose their jobs. A netizen commented, "This year might be the worst year for China's economic development in the past decade, but it could be the best compared to what's coming in the next 10 years. Our hard times have just begun."